And welcome back to part two, Wrestle Talk Show fans of our conveniently titled Dixie Carter, Get a Clue. In part one, you heard me tail off about them giving away pay per view matches on impacts and then scrambling to come up with pay per views. That's an everyday thing for them. Not, well, every day is a bad analogy, but they do this on a regular basis. They'll give you matchups that could very well, if they fucking followed the pattern of storytelling as wrestling has always done, and hopefully the right ones that survive after the wrestling apocalypse will go back to this, is you're hold on, this actually gets better because the whole misconception with MMA being better than wrestling, it might not be. And the only reason, in my opinion, that I think it got such a well over is because wrestling had stopped giving you feuds and stories that the fan could follow, where you have this old time practice. If you really break down MMA, it's no different than what wrestling was in the past, where they show you the win loss record, they show you a package of videos and these two guys' history together, and they hype you for the match. Now, the fact that it's full contact just makes it even better, but of course more people are going to follow this. One, it's not predetermined, but I still think you can have it can be entertaining regardless of it being predetermined. And this is where I go in with TNA on you cannot suffer, and I do mean suffer, with the numbers in regards to pay per views, and then say the following week, give away lineups that should have been on the pay per view. Have good matches on Impact, but throw together matches on your pay per views. Your knockouts division, where we thought it was turning a corner, seems to be at a standstill. You're not doing anything with any of the talent. I'm not saying I would condone it, but I'd almost understand it if I were able to sit here and tell you, well, it sucked, but you could see on Impact that they're trying to do something with the women's division. They're not even trying on that angle. And they don't have a lot of angles left to go on. Am I right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And what's sad about that is the most, the matches on Impact that could be this, oh my god, match, most often than not end up sucking anyway. Either with, it could have been a dark match and it still wouldn't matter. And B, with the knockout division, they actually, if you look at it, the knockout division ended up helping the Divas division on WWE for a bit, where yeah, you had a lot of TNA at one point, like '06 or '04 when they started doing the Diva search. Ugh. Anyway, and then the knockout division hit, they boomed, and it was like, oh my god, these women can wrestle. And then
Oh yeah, but you were given the belief that you were going to see something different than the eye candy on WWE.
right, and then that's when WWE took a look at it, and they switched their game. Now it has eye candy, but it isn't so eye candy oriented. It's almost like the beginning of the women's division attitude era. You know, where you had the women that could look good, but they could also wrestle. And you know, and now TNA knockouts aren't doing shit. That's special. That's hilarious.
What do you? I'll just give you something to voice your opinion on at this point, because, like I said, it can all come full circle. What? And I might be asking the wrong question, and if I am, reword it for me. How come nobody's telling this to Dixie that hey, maybe if you put this Impact lineup and add a little more oomph to it, you could actually turn it into a pay-per-view lineup. How come the wrestlers themselves or the talent coordinators aren't saying you have guys that more or less you're throwing together matches where you don't have to if you just step back and thought about how you want each and every character to go. My question is more or less, how come nobody's stopping her and saying, look, you have a pay per view here right before the pay per view. It's an Impact. This would be a good idea to throw it together. Yeah, make it pay per view oriented, but do not give away a pay per view on a televised event that we're not making any money off of. Where do you? I guess the question is, who would be in charge of that, and what do you think the reason is that it's been let go so many times, where she can have impacts that do better in ratings than her pay per view did?
Well, who would be in charge of that? That's a good question. I'm thinking talent relations, but I could be wrong. I also think that it might be because she already has enough earwax going up, building up in there, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I hear you there.
And as far as why they're able to get better impacts, I don't know. You would think that by now they would realize, hey, our impact did somewhat better than our pay-per-view.
Well,
Why is that?
is this coming back to what you were saying last installment about this could be one of the many issues of not looking at your own product? Like, more or less, could this be solved if they just did the replay and said, hey, we had a hell of a show. How come our pay-per-views aren't like this? And then maybe the light bulb would come on. No?
You would think so, but maybe not. I mean, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds like, hey, let's look at what this was like. Oh, it wasn't that good. Here's where we could probably tweak it. Maybe our problem is our storylines aren't making sense. Tweak that. Maybe we're not pushing people the way they should be pushed. All right, tweak that. But for whatever reason, they're not doing so. Honestly, I have nothing that I can really say about that. I don't know what can be said about the idiocy there. I mean, honestly, it's like you're putting out this product, but you're not going to at least entertain the notion of looking at it to see maybe where is the issue.
Alright, and just a quick random question before I become more topic focused again. If you're AJ Styles right now in TNA, what are you thinking about?
I'm probably thinking, I'm probably thinking I'm grateful for my job, but if I was AJ Styles, I'd probably be thinking, what the fuck am I doing in this goddamn storyline where I'm practically sucking Ric Flair's dick? I'm sorry, I love Ric Flair, hell of an athlete, he had his time, but he had his time. AJ Styles was a somebody before Ric Flair came in TNA. Where this whole, he needs to see the next Nature Boy thing goes from, I don't know. Please, somebody help me, explain it to me. Because, like I said, he was a somebody before Ric Flair even set foot into, even knew what TNA was.
So you think what? When Ric Flair came, they thought they needed AJ to boost them but then again, that's kind of idiotic. Anybody who knows Ric Flair's background knows that all you needed at the time, before he was given time to make a fool of himself, all you really needed was him on the card and you could probably sell seats. What what kind of push was there to give what I guess what I'm asking is, how come AJ Styles had to be undercut when Ric Flair has already made his name? Ric Flair would have came to TNA and everybody would have known him. He didn't need any help getting ahead.
The thing is that it's the other way around. It isn't AJ Styles bumping Ric Flair up. It's Ric Flair, quote unquote, bumping up AJ. And I quote that because AJ, like I said, didn't need that bump up. They only did that to give Ric Flair something to do, AJ something to do. That's what it seems like to me.
All right, if you were to booker or talent relations, whatever adjective you want to use, does Ric Flair on your list of people to go?
Maybe initially, but eventually, well, quite frankly, I'd rather him, be as more of a manager role, not...
Well, that's what I'm saying, but it's obvious that whenever you tell these people to do something, they do the exact opposite, and then can't figure out why the outcome was so disastrous. Like, what the fuck? It's not that hard. Again, Wrestle Talk fans, I'm here, for my own entertainment and to get it out there. This process isn't that hard. All the marks, all you haters, whatever adjective you want to use, call it fake, call it predetermined, call it yesterday's news at this point if you want. That doesn't matter. My argument still stands that you can make this shit entertainable as it was in the past if you go to the long-time practice of storytelling. And storytelling means a beginning, middle, and the much anticipated end and resolution. But when you're in a brand, TNA, that wants to go first, middle, and we'll get to the resolution, might be months, might be weeks, it does away. Of course you're not interested with wrestling. These guys have it in the palm of their hand. My co-host seems to think it's gone too far. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and it has. Maybe you guys will just either go to ROH, stick with ROH, because you'll see that down the road TNA isn't getting any better. Maybe we'll all be in for a surprise. Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo will come to terms with their departure of TNA, and we'll wish them luck on their future endeavors. Not so much luck, because knowing our luck, Eric Bischoff will wind back up in wrestling. But it's not. Am I wrong? It comes down to whether it's gimmick or not. Like favorite wrestler, all that aside, it comes down to basic storytelling.
Well, yes, it does.
Learn how to tell a story, and a story that people want to follow. If you have a story where your face wins every single match, well, of course, after a certain amount of time, you're going to have to turn him into a heel, because in accordance to the story, the fans are going to get tired of seeing wins all the time, or seeing the good guy get over the bad guy. Sometimes your fan wants to see the good guy just get leveled, and then it opens the door for him to come back and, I hate to use the word, but Super Cena all over the place. I mean, there was a time where we would have welcomed that, but now it just seems like a back and forth to throw whatever they want on TV. As long as you're watching it, it doesn't matter what it is. And I'll wrap up this show by saying it doesn't have to be that way. Look up storytelling if you have to. Dumbing it down that much. For more information on the Wrestle Talk Show and anything else we do here on the program, visit WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. And as always, on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and my email address, cwecompany@gmail.com. Until next time, we thank you.